Doing my guy, I've just hit live as you've joined here. So how are we getting on?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Perfect timing. When the eVTOLs, it's always a good time. It's always perfect timing. How's your day, Liam?
I'm not too bad. Do I sound okay? Just because I
Yeah,
haven't got a test on it. Is that all right? Yeah.
loud and clear, nice space, sounding good. Yeah, no, you sound great, man.
So then, do you know what? We've got
Yeah,
both Archer and Joby have entered the mix now. They've both
yeah.
fired up their earnings calls.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Joby, I think, are going for the 25th, where Archer's going for the 2nd. Archer have pushed theirs back by a week or so, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we've a few opinions on that, but guys, do jump into the comments. Let us know what are you more excited about, Archer or Joby's earnings, and also, yeah, look, guys, different surrounding. I'm in the UK at the moment, so if anyone wants to have a laugh at my chair or anything, yeah, go for it. But Dylan, how's your day been?
It's been good. Got to celebrate a birthday with the young one yesterday. So got a official 5-year-old now. And yeah, the day's been good. It was nice to catch up with you earlier. Make sure you made it to the UK okay, and kind of getting settled in. And it's just kind of interesting as we continue to push forward, both with the eVTOL network and the eVTOL news. Just kind of finding the exciting things that do come in the eVTOL space. And I think it's always fun to jump on and really kind of update everybody on anything that we've learned or just anything that is kind of new, and is going on in the space. So overall, good. It's Friday. It's a long weekend for us on the US. So yeah, looking forward to relax, get some studying, and yeah, keep DDing these companies, and finding out everything we can on them.
Yeah, no, looking the market, look, it wasn't the best of weeks, but we
Yeah.
seem to have finished on a little bit of a positive note. Archer 0.15% up. We are on that $7 range. It's 677. Guys, great opportunity at the moment.
Mm.
We had everyone saying that maybe the opportunity was missed, myself included. Maybe the opportunity was missed last time we were in the $6 range. So we're back in the $6 range. If you really want it at this price, don't let it slip this time.
There you go.
Joby, under the $10, another great steal. 0.2% up on the day, 990. Going across Horizon Aircraft, 176, up 2.92%. I want to talk about Horizon a little bit.
Yeah.
And Vertical Aerospace, they are floating around that just under that 450 range instead of 439, up 3.05% today. But yeah, what I'll do, I'll jump into the comments and then we can talk about the earnings.
Yeah.
So we have Tim Hempsey, let's go. Big shout out, my
Hey.
guy. Wild Saddle always is. He talked about the live stream or the stock. Both, hopefully.
Yeah.
WHD, big shout out, my guy. Good afternoon, everyone. You know what? To me, it's 20 past 11 at night. But
Good evening.
good afternoon, good evening, whatever you want. It could be good morning to some people. Max sold 10,000 of his Archer shares. WHD says give Archer 10 years. 2028 is rumors. Also, the Olympics. We will talk about all this. We need both civilian and military sales. So
Good points. Good points.
Uncle Merchant, hello everyone. I hope everyone's had a great end to your week. And you know what? We have. But yeah. So I hit on it there. Joby Aviation on the 25th of Feb and Archer are going for the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you what you're more excited about because I think I know the answer. But what would you like to see from both companies, both from Archer and from Joby, going into earnings?
That's a good question. Let me start with Joby on that one, since they're going first. For me, something that is always intriguing when Joby has their earnings call is going to be their shareholder letter and to their slide deck. It's one where we see different categories of progression where they're going through different TIA, looking for their type certification for their aircraft. So it will be interesting to see the advancements per the shareholder letter chart that does come out for Joby. I think we're looking for both of these companies to, of course, get to the 100% completion mark and cross that type certification and get the FAA approval and certification for the aircraft. With Joby as well, I think I'll be very interested to see what they're looking to do with their cash, to see if there's any further explanations. And again, whether that's going to be marketing, manufacturing. Has there been any changes to the scale of manufacturing that we were looking at for 2027? And maybe even any possible it'll be interesting to see as the earnings call, and maybe I'll slide this one into Archer as well, where just if any nods on the EIPP, just general ideas of the type of flights in which they're looking to take place under the EIPP, and any certain market survey flights, and really more also to the not partially to the test data or to the flight data that they'd be looking to gain from the flights. But also, I think a big piece is going to be that commercial adoption coming from the IPP. So again, having the cities paired with the aviation companies, I think it's going to be really exciting to see. As again I've said, I think on the last time we talked, where for us when we look up in the sky, we may be able to point out that, oh, that's an S4, that's a Midnight, and maybe be able to explain to our partner in the car why that is in the air, during that period of time, even if it is unpassengered at that time as well. But for those that are not as familiar with this mode of transportation, and also, again, maybe getting some of higher news level coverage as you're going to have these flights start to go out. So kind of if you think in your early Waymo moments, where you were getting not just your initial rollout, but maybe that ramp up in coverage of the Waymos and the rollouts. And also you compare that into your robo-taxi networks and such like that, where as these networks start to scale, obviously you're going to get more coverage. But there is also, I feel like, kind of that initial kind of like, let's get the report out on this first sort of coverage. So it'll be interesting to see one from the big news stations, what they have to say on the EIPPs and market surveys. But I also am very curious when you get down to like also the local news with inside the cities, and see what the actual residents, the populations of these cities have been saying about seeing the aircraft fly over, and having that really become something that becomes second nature of sight to the people on the ground. And then rolling into Archer's call, I think for me, I'd be looking, I'd be very curious what we're looking to do with the cash on hand. And for me, the piloted VTOL flight, I know we have kind of, we beat that up a little, or not beat that up, but we discussed that a lot going into the Culper short report real quick that we had done, the review the other day. And through that, really looking again at what the liquidity that Archer has, and for both Archer and Joby, looking to see the cash kind of burn rate that they're able to kind of hold, and is, able to kind of look at that also as an investor and project out, will there be other times where there may be some re-entry points for any dilution that may have to come within these companies, just again to keep them in their market cap, to keep them in their cash liquidity positions, and to help bolster up that market cap that they're currently in. So I think for Joby, interested in the shareholder letter, seeing any further progression in the certification. And then for Archer, really looking to learn more about also the partnerships that they've signed over the last quarter. The thing was Republic of Serbia, and seeing what, doing the Expo in 2027 out there. And just kind of learning more information and what they're looking to do also with like full revenue, full guidance for spend for the next quarterly year coming up. Sorry, I got my kiddo right here.
No, you're all good.
But the next quarter coming up. And for me, it's an exciting one. And then rolling into the next 3 months of basically what would be considered Q1 for these companies.
Yeah, like going into Joby, I genuinely want to see we know we had that share offering, so we're going for 1.2 billion. I want a little bit more color on where that's spent. We know, guys, that it's going for certification and the commercial rollout, but what does that actually mean? Where is this money getting spent? We know they were advertising with Uber and they were wrapping Uber cars and they actually put up a little bit of feedback, if I remember earlier, or was it yesterday? Could have been the day before. Guys, I'm all over the place because
It's okay.
I've been traveling. I think it was actually the 11th, was it? I've completely missed it. But
That's it.
yeah, they were doing simulations on their flights. So you get into your Uber, you fire up your app, and you can look around as if you're inside the S4. I want to hear a little bit more about that. Are they going to? Is that just a one-off thing? We know they said it's limited edition there, but are they going to roll these out in multiple places across the country? Like, thinking about it, yeah, guys. Even if we hit commercialization, FAE certification, okay, so they get what? Even if we say 48 aircraft coming out, yeah, these 48 aircraft are not going to be all around the country. So we need to get eyes on exactly what these trips are going to be like. We need it to feel more natural. And I think this is where EIPP plays really nicely into the whole, I don't know, I'm not going to say ecosystem, plays into the public mindset. If you think about it, you hit on it there with Waymo. Guys, they're what, 2, 3, 4 years ago, when the likes of full self-driving was going around with Tesla or Waymo, it looked weird to see a car driving by itself.
Yeah.
As Tesla's starting to roll out the full self-driving, it is going to become second nature. And that is exactly what the likes of DIPP's about. But again, if you're integrating the likes of them app experiences on Uber in all different cities, EIPP is going to be narrowed down to a certain number of cities. There's no limit on where you can roll out wrapped Ubers with the S4 on it and have your passengers experience what it'd be like flying in a air taxi. And maybe, yes, it might be 5-10 years away till it gets into their city, but it makes them want to seek cities that these are in. It makes people want to travel. It gets people excited. And then it's not as weird when you see all of a sudden an S4 flying over your head.
Yeah.
You need it to be second nature. When it comes to ACHR Aviation, we were actually, me and Dylan came off the call the last day, and if Max here, Max said 49 days until vertical takeoff, landing, and transition. That's actually incorrect. It's 49 days until the earnings call, but Q1 will still be in progress. So Q1 runs all the way up until, I don't know when the end date of Q1 will be for them.
Probably, yeah, about late May, early June, just in a general 3-month calculation, depending on if they're sticking to the March. But yeah, you're on that.
Well, really, that's what we're going for. It's not 49 days, because I'm not going to lie to you guys. Came off that the last day, and I was like, 49 days actually is not that much. It's not that much time, is it? And I thought Adam seemed very confident on that earnings call. So look, it is what it is. I'm at that stage now where I'm so happy with my positions in both Arthur and Joby. The likes of Culper report is not going to sway me sideways. I seen one of the guys reckons he had emailed Archer on X, and they said they'll address it on the earnings call. And I've no doubt they will. Whether it comes out about Archer, Joby, aren't we better hearing it from the horse's mouth and finding out exactly where we are? It's all good, us all speculating together and concocting all these ideas. All we do is fire each other up. And at the end of the day, we get nowhere because we're just blowing smoke up each other. And then there's arguments going back and forth. No one's actually getting any better.
That's
at
true.
This stage, anyone that believes that Archer is not going to fly in 2028 ain't going to believe anyone until they see Archer prove it. Anyone like us that believes they will cannot be convinced otherwise until it's not proved. So at the same time, there's no point arguing between ourselves. And I kind of wanted to go live today for that exact reason. Because, look, Culper have been offered by us again to come on speak about their short report. I think a few of you guys actually reached out directly to Culper to see would they come on and speak to us. So you know we're not lying. It's the same. It's the same thing. Like, I need to be careful to say that. Yeah, no, I need to be careful to say.
But it's a great point again. And, with Culper coming out, to me, it didn't have again, because I think we've kind of seen outside of the first, 2-3 weeks of January, which seemed like, beta was just going to be on a high run. Mag 7 was just like consolidating, or those were the ones dropping in the fight. It was this whole thought of, was it this rotation from the Mag 7 into the high beta for 2026? It's been a lot of either in the macro or kind of in the I heard somebody say kind of just like the market being a little stubborn, being a little bit angry, and kind of figuring out what it needed to shake out and everything, and kind of just have this initial drawdown, and people even thinking about was this early tax lot selling, and then some other people saying, well, no, that's probably not happening until April. So I think it's one of those things to look at it, and I think you made a great point before I go too far, Liam, where again, as we continue to learn about these eVTOL companies, and for anybody either new or old, I'll just address it for myself, where I may speak more on Archer and can be framed as the Archer bull, or think I'm super bullish on Archer, as if I don't think there's going to be another successor in this industry. But also, if you listen closely, I've really always said that this is not going to be a one aircraft manufacturer's game. Even you've had Adam come out in interviews and say you're not going to have 10 companies, most likely survive the whole roundabout of the funding to the certification to the manufacturing and the ramp for the eVTOLs, but you're still probably going to have, the 2, 3, possibly a fourth, and maybe even a fifth company that can really pull it out and make it, because it's not a cash light industry to really be being able to progress, because again, with no FAA certification and no defense contracts yet, we're still working our ways with early zero revenue or early revenue within these companies. But then again, also taking a look at what these companies are individually taking an opportunity to start bringing and showing that early revenue to the table to, I think, that, again, I used the word cusp the other day, so I don't mean to repeat it, but we're on the cusp of different milestones. And again, these are going to be different milestones within inside of each company as they're progressing. So, as Joby pushes forward for their type certification, me, even as an Archer investor, that isn't something that is going to make me upset if Joby is to cross that finish line first. For me, if Joby is going to be kind of that leader in the industry, more years kind of in the game and building out and doing the vertical integration, I support them going through the type certification, and I hope they are successful in that and kind of able to write a successful blueprint that will be able to be shared and mapped out to the FAA, and we'll be able to have that adoption come from the second and third eVTOL companies that are kind of coming through line in that type certification as well. And, I think that's also okay to see where we haven't had a mass explosion of the ramp of manufacturing of these aircraft just yet. And again, making sure that kind of checking all the boxes, getting to the type certification areas, and then where once we kind of get that final stamp, and again, whether that's into 26, early 27, or even to 28, that I don't know if for me the FA certification is going to be the when I say the end all be all. Yes, it's going to be something that's going to be extremely important to happen for the success of the commercial air taxi network. But to me, there's so much going on in between and in the middle of that it all keeps me excited in so many short words leading up to it. But yeah, what were you thinking?
Yeah, do you know what I think is slept on massively is the defensive side of the business. And all these short reports come out and say that, look, Archer won't fly until 2028. But they've slept on the whole defensive side of the business. Guys, I want you to jump into the comments and let me know if Archer came out with a substantial contract, and when I mean substantial contract with Andril, with the government, would that change your mind about how you view the likes of these short reports? And that's not saying, like, look, I want them to commercially fly, but it's one thing you don't hear people talking about because they don't get enough information about that. It just feels like it's just slept on. It's like slept under the carpet because, look, they can't prove nor disprove. Jonathan Big Shout out, my guy, added 20 shares of Joby this week. Joseph, I'm sure we'll be here which quarter that commercial operations will be starting in Dubai. My prediction is Q2 for Joby. I'm agreeing with you about not feeling right about Archer. I think the feeling is an offering coming. I don't know. I don't think so. Not in the near term. An offering will have to come closer to commercial rollout, but I don't actually believe it'll be anywhere as big as Joby's was. And I've said that before. Joby actually have to create a whole new business. They now have to run a Uber. So they have to employ a mass amount of people just to run a service. Then the likes of your vertiports, they are all going to have to be maintained by Joby themselves because it's going to be a Joby network. One thing I just can't see is, okay, let's look 15 years down the road, yeah? We've spoke about this before. The charging actual connection or whatever the word.
Sure. Yeah.
Could we see these become, I don't know, universal for all companies to use one charging dock? Because we're starting to see Tesla license out theirs for free so they can use Tesla charging networks. And the problem is, if you're building new vertiports, are you going to have separate charging ports for each air taxi as they come in? Or would it be as sufficient just to say to everyone, you have to run off the same port?
And that's really curious, Liam. I think I want to say advantageous can be a word, but it seems like it would be advantageous for the companies in the industry to come together and almost, like you're saying, lock in as that, to me, electrical vertical takeoff and landing. That E is that's the first letter, how do we charge that E? And I don't think anybody, either a passenger, a pilot, or one of the aircraft manufacturers wants to be on a route and have something happen. And when they have to go VTOL their aircraft, they're not having their charging mechanism already inputted into the ground, fired up, ready to go, or be able to do the MRO on the aircraft without getting that, basically shipped back over to some location or headquarters that would actually be able to do that for that specific company. So yeah, I think that's really good, Liam, as you say, to put that 15-year lens on it. I do think that, the volatility in these stocks will continue to happen for, I don't have the crystal ball. Could be 1 year, could be 2 years, 3 years, when we get, and there still could be high volatility even after that as it's going through. This is a incredible growth story. As again, it's like, as you talk about the Waymo, like let's I know Waymo is its own business, subsidiary of Google though, but let's just say Waymo was just its own business. Your ticker was WAYO or something like that, and you're just investing into Waymo, and that's what it was. Think about where it would have been in, 3 years ago when they weren't on the road, but it was an idea. And then you're starting to see the
And everyone would
legislation.
say, "There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way. No one's going to certify a car
No.
that can drive
Yeah.
itself." And you know what? 20 years ago, people
Yeah.
said there'll be no such thing as electric vehicles. They won't
True.
work. They won't get wet. They won't work.
That's so
They
true.
won't pull anything.
That is so true. No, 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 no. That's so spot on. And, not to be in the recency bias on kind of the tech that we're kind of allotted to use each day, but yeah, to take that lens, and even if we're going backwards, to think of the tech that we're using now, where, you shave 5 years off, you shave 10 years off, and you shave 15 years off. Were you able to do this, that, or the other in the or tech slash efficient way that you're able to do it now? Even doing something like running StreamYards and Zooms and doing all that. I mean, it's even small platform upgrades that have been able to really integrate their growth idea and their envision for the future into their company. And then again, I mean, this may sound silly to some, but even a public adoption of something like a Zoom and Skype meetings and stuff like that. I know COVID kind of put us in the spot where we were kind of forced to have to do things much more virtually, get kind of familiar or comfortable with speaking just camera to camera and getting away from kind of the in-person meetings and such like that. But, there was some general quote unquote public adoption as that was getting flipped over. And just like you were saying with the Waymos, not to say that Elon wouldn't have been able to open the robo-taxi door all by himself, but, I can't say that it hurts when you're already having an autonomous vehicle fleet basically rolling out in cities, and now you are another operator of those, and you're looking to get those basically regulated to be in cities that you're already having the autonomous driving vehicles in, or expanding those out to other cities that would be new to having those inside of their regulations as well. But as we can see, that's not something that's impossible, and it is city by city, can be a slower rollout. It can feel, but inside of those cities, I mean, if you look at the number of paid trips of Waymos, I think it's something in the 200 million trips per dot dot dot. I'd be happy to Google it and find out for you guys. But I mean, the expansion and really the generally saying the amount of trips that are being taken by these type of vehicles, I think is something that is showing that this is something that's most likely here to stay, and it's more of a industry that's going to continue to be advanced. So again, as you had the as quote unquote piloted cars, as you're now getting to the autonomous vehicles with the four wheels on the road, kind of same thing with our aircrafts. Right now, public adoption, it's going to feel probably the most comfortable having a pilot in the seat. It might be weird to go from point to point traffic being like I'm catching my Uber and all of a sudden I'm jumping straight into an autonomous eVTOL that's going to take me again to my drop off point of landing to kind of solve that last mile. But yeah, and I think also kind of as you're saying, it's kind of marrying in the commercial adoption, which as you've said can come out through the EIPP and really start having those be seen commercially adopted, but then also through the defense side where in essence you're having your tech proven out. So again, it's this marriage of public consumer adoption, proven tech playing out, and then marrying those into the regulations state by state and country by country, and then rolling those out to have those be the air taxi networks of the future. And just always keep in mind that we don't have to rush the process in this. I'm one that is let's get these aircraft out there safely. I don't think anybody, whether you're an investor or just a general human, is looking to have any disaster happen with inside of these aircraft. So, let's get the flight data, let's get the flight miles. If do the market survey flights, and if they're not passengered at this moment, I'm okay with that. But again, like let's say we're having non-passenger market survey flights this summer, but the piloted non-passenger market survey flights. I mean, think a year ago, these again were all bearish things, or just generally these won't happen things that were being talked about. Same thing a year ago with piloted CTOL with extended mile, more build, more ramp from Joby. It's again, I know it can kind of seem wild to think what the future holds, but sometimes again, let's look back a year and see, not just push stock price aside, see what the companies have actually done, and again, what tech they've been able to prove out in that time span.
And I think it's very easy to look past that. I think people are so much about the transition flights. They're so much about, look, we've seen it in the Culper report. They haven't taken off in 3 months. Like, but what have they done in the last 12? Like, it's so easy to beat down a company. It's much easier to beat down any company than it is to build them up. Because in life, it is just so much easier to break something than it is to build it. Jumping across.
Yeah.
IVWU says, with the upcoming lawsuit, do you think these companies will work together to sync up battery chargers? If they've nowhere to land and the city makes them, yeah, 100% they will, because it's a game of survival. If you're just willing not to work together because you won't sync up battery idea, well, look, no one's going to make money, and say that third competitor comes in and takes the money. So, yeah, I do believe they would. Look, I don't want to get political, but look at Trump and Elon. When it comes to they need to work together, they'll work together.
I do it. Yeah, understandable. Absolutely.
Joby is US-based, but did not know that. What are we saying? 2 US-based electric aircraft developers, ACHR and Beta Technologies, have agreed to cooperate to introduce an interop. Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
A really cool thing about Beta as well, they have this charging cube that they can put on board. So it's like a portable charger. They can bring it with them 2 places. Guys, do jump in. Let us know. What are you looking forward to most in these earnings calls? I don't want to hear what you're. I don't want all the bears to come in and say, I want to see ACHR prove all this. We heard all that at the Culper strain.
Yeah.
I'll finish talking about Culper by saying the concerns will be addressed on the earnings call. I just don't want to give any more heat. I don't want to give any more eyes to Culper.
Yeah, no more spotlight. No, you're right on it, Liam. It's something where it's debunked, and I don't. Just like Joby moving forward with their tech, with ACHR moving forward with their tech, Horizon with their tech, or Vertical, again, a lot of credit to these teams that are on the design floors, proving out this tech each and every day. And I think basically the last thing I'll say on the Culper report is, from the one that I just read, to me, it wasn't shining glaring lights on what a company can't do. It was showing something that a company has not done yet. But again, I think those are all things that we've discussed on, if not a weekly basis, on a too much of a daily basis when it comes to X or Reddit or, any of those platforms where, kind of like, hopefully it's not a bad phrase, but like beating the dead horse, where, and again, I think these companies know what they have behind the doors and the abilities to scale, and be it either Joby again with running the kind of OEM and commercial air taxi network, kind of all in that one bundle package with Uber. And again, with ACHR diversifying and having such kind of that stretch with international growth, defense, and then also again leading that into your civil aviation and having those commercial air taxis on their side as well.
Then Sean says, would be there's if these eVTOLs on the public let them plug into a Tesla supercharger? Imagine there was a. I don't want to say it. You said it, Sean.
Right. There you go. If ever it happened, highlight the comment and yeah, you got the word first.
I tried to not link the T name anymore.
Yeah.
Wild very quickly. eVTOL Balls, happy Friday, gentlemen. Do you know what? eVTOL Balls does some work in the eVTOL industry. Make sure you check him out on X, guys. Great articles to be fired out. Bad buffering on the video. Is that coming from my side or Dylan's side? Because it
Yeah, let
could
me
be
know.
my end here. I'm in the UK at the moment. Look, this is a ready-made, thrown together studio. I
Look,
promise it will get better, guys.
I like it.
What what is it, Dylan? You said it's like nostalgic. It looks like a basement.
Yeah, I don't know, anybody that kind of grew up on the US side. I don't know if it's a eastern side or, but yeah, those were kind of like really standard boards that a lot of our basements had growing up. So even to some houses and buddies I would, kind of hang out with the teenage years and stuff like that. It's just like very nostalgic and it's warm to me, it brings back good vibes and wherever Liam's at, wherever he's broadcasting from, it's always cool to see whether it's Hustle Brothers background or naked background and showing us that pine wood or that knotty wood. I like it. I like it a lot.
Early man walked and rode a horse, then trained in care, and now eVTOL air flights autonomously and that much less expensive than previous flights.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that really I don't want us as investors getting ahead of ourselves is how quick these can become very inexpensive. I think it will be a long time before we see the mass rollout where you can get these as cheap as, say, an Uber today, or just a taxi from here to there.
Yeah.
I know they're going for Uber Black prices, but for it to be, I don't know, for everyday people to go to work back and over, I do think it will be a while. So I don't want anyone to think that, look, 2 years' time you can be jumping on an S4 or a
Mm-hmm.
Midnight and you can be going to work every day. Look, number one, it'll probably cost you about 140 quid return flight for the day, and doing that 5 times a week. Look, guys, if you have the money, you're welcome to do it.
Fly it. Yeah, do it. On it. And if you don't mind, Liam, that it sparked a thought, and I probably had it for a day or two. And it did come off of a Archer video that had came out on Instagram, I believe, if and probably other platforms as well, where they were talking about, or it was a video. It was, and I think one of the comments had just come up where it was talking about kind of horse to kind of progressing out what travel has been for us on the basically in the globe as well. So, seeing in the video, it reminds me very much of home where grew up, and it's a two-lane road, or I'm sorry, a two lane road or a 4-lane highway. And in 10 years time, they're busting that road up because it's now got to be doubled on each side, and then 10 years now, even the road I travel to every day from work, for the past 30 years, it's been congested, but they've left it, two going this way, two going this way. But for the past year, they have been getting rid of that median, and pretty soon it's going to be minimally 3-3 each way, if not 4-4. But my point to that is when I think about a cost for like a city planner or something, when we're looking to inject capital into developing or restructuring, refining infrastructure, or basically I'm trying to find a bigger word, but saying fix infrastructure.
Okay, yeah.
So, you can look at it where you can continue to build out the lanes of roads, which in essence, you're not always taking care of where you're getting the potholes. So you're already having expense where you're going to have to maintain the roads that have been built. So now we're expanding out the roads. So there's capital being put into those projects that are being put out. And then in essence, you're going to be having more money put in as these roads are driven over, beat up, and kind of just wash over and over and over. And then also I know around my area, we're also running into areas where road expansion has been wanted to be had, but you have residential homes that are right on the side. So really the whole county would have to come in and buy, miles of residential homes for a premium price, like super premium price, to get the tenants to leave. And then basically to demolish those, just to widen what would be a commuter one way each way kind of street there. So it kind of made me think, if I'm looking into designing a city or refurbishing a city or upgrading a city, and the travel in the city, is it dollars better spent by continuing to widen out the highways, which we've shown doesn't really solve the problem? It just kind of band-aids it until we're to capacity again, or adopting in this 3D mode of travel. And again, like you said, Liam, to not get too ahead of the skis and thinking that, and I always use me as an example because I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm always first to tell you guys that, um, where I would love to be riding in the midnight in 2 years, but that may not be locationally, meaning that I'm just outside of DC, kind of where I'm here up here. So the vertiport may not be right in my subtown
Yeah.
area. And or like you said, the quid or dollar price to what it's going to be to ride it. And will that be something that, me, family man, and all that, would be able to do on a regular basis? Now, definitely are going to be a subset of market that travel will fit their price range, and that will kind of be able to lead in, I think, also to the excitement as, again, it's kind of like this effect, and it doesn't always have to happen. It's kind of like this pop culture effect, but you start seeing maybe an Instagram celebrity or your pop culture favorite music icon, or and then they're taking this new mode of travel that may be a little more readily available to them in the earlier stages of rollout. And then, getting to that part, 5, 10, whatever that crystal ball year down the line, where I think something that's really exciting is, when these are able to be brought really to the commercial air taxi of the Dylan of the world, where I always think it's cool, and this is just me talking off the top of my head, but I always think it's cool when I take off in an airplane and I'm looking down over the city that basically I live in. And I'm always kind of looking out the window, and I'm like, you see baseball fields and all this, and it's like, I know that's not the one by my house, but it's like, oh, that's cool. I want, wonder where that is, kind of guessing. But having the lower altitude, I just think also what a cool immersive experience as you're able to then travel point to point around your own city, and really you're getting the skyscraper view of the town that you are in, live in, or grew up in. So I don't know. I think there's a whole immersive experience also that takes shape once these eVTOLs are for us as well.
Wells had a lot of really nice one here. So
Hmm.
trains take you where you do not want to go, and when you do not want to go. Short air trips could be every half an hour and vary depending on depending on events going on the area. Much better. Again, I think this is a great comment because this demonstrates exactly
Mm.
where Wild Saddle's head's at. This demonstrates that Wild Saddle is a long term investor because this is a long term mindset. For flights to be happening every half an hour for the general public. Just think if there was one midnight or one S4 running every half an hour,
Yeah.
there's an opportunity for 4 people to jump on every half an hour. You think of a train station, how much people does a train hold? I want to travel
Yeah.
here to
Uh,
there
Up here,
in
plenty.
on
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So every half an hour, you're going to need 100 S4 or 100 midnight
Yeah.
going off from one direction, 100 coming back, and that's not how it works. It'd be one going this way, one going that way. But this is where it's going to take time, and that kind of boils down to is that why ACHR focusing so heavily on Los Angeles?
Mm.
Win Los Angeles, and you win the world.
Yeah.
So do it right somewhere instead of putting one here, one there, one there, one there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
People can't get used to it. Why not just actually build out the actual network you want in this city
Mm.
and then roll it out from there? That's what I thought.
I like
Anyway,
that. I like that.
eVTOL says, what a gift for investors to be able to scoop up the stock so cheap. Do you know what? I said it at the start of the stream, guys.
Mhm.
So many of us were disappointed last
Mhm.
time it came down to this level, and then it bounced straight back up. don't let the opportunity miss you twice, because we can't guarantee that it'll get down to this level. That's not a call to buy. At the end of the day, I don't
Yeah.
care if you buy or sell. But anyone that genuinely wants in, great opportunity at the moment. Guys, there's quite a few of you in here. Do smash that like button. And do you know what? Make that subscriber count on the top of the screen. Do the roly-poly for me.
Love it. Love
I
it.
absolutely love it. Stream from England, my guys. Come on.
Love it.
I totally agree with you getting in a good price. Max, big shout out, my guy. Archer's HQ is in South San Francisco. Terrible idea. SSF is very far away from both SF and SF Airport. I don't know what you mean by that, my guy.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to read in this SFF airport that you're referring to versus SFO. But come back with it, Max, if I'm getting it wrong.
Yeah, just rephrase that a little bit,
Yeah, I'm
Michael.
sorry, brother.
We'll come back to the question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
While saddle, I personally have seen Google Jets, although those fly longer distances. We're in the digital world, going to be living in a digital material world, going to have to become familiar with digital wallet system. Will be use case for XR. My God, you know what? Ray, I'm the wrong person to think about that with, because I genuinely have not got a
Oh
clue
my gosh.
any sort of crypto. And you know what? I don't really want to have a clue until I have to use it. Look, some people are going to call me idiots. I probably should have been in Bitcoin ages ago.
Right,
But
right.
I don't deal with it. Are you in any crypto at all?
And I'll tell you, I'll leave the app name out of it, but I swear the most times I get into it is when I get a free gift from the app, and it just seems to be at the all-time high or the like yearly high on it, and I'm like, I'll DCA down, or I'll DCA down a little bit, and I'm like, there's no bottom I'm finding on this quite yet. But the Ethereum blockchain stuff does interest me. I think in the last give or take 18 months, Tom Lee, has been very hot and very spot on with a lot of his TA, a lot of the gentleman that helps him with his TA, and BMNR, and figuring out the whole nav to erosion calculations and stuff. So that's up a little bit over my head. So again, probably why I'm not in it. But yeah, take me back to 2011 when I thought Bitcoin was a super joke, and maybe I'd throw a few $100s at it and see what it ended up today. But yeah, it's something where I know that those that get it, they seem like they definitely get it and could definitely probably verse me up much better than I can speak on it. So always happy to take a call or a DM, and if somebody's interested in just speaking thesis and talking about it. But no, at the moment I don't hold any crypto. And yeah, kind of with you, Liam. Just doing the equity, and when it seems right, that time will be right. Yeah,
We'll be the ones late to the party, but
that's
you know
right.
what? We'll enjoy it on the way.
That's right.
Uncle Merchant says, do you think the recent advancements of solid-state batteries will reduce upcoming vehicle production expectations? I don't know. Do you think it'll reduce the expectations on the vehicle production for either the Midnight or the S4?
So, and I'm trying to think into the word expectations. So maybe kind of think like, so if we get advancements in solid state batteries, am I thinking of that then as kind of like an STC where it's kind of like a change with inside of the aircraft? So in essence, a quote unquote change has happened. So the rapid production or rapid ramp wouldn't be able to take place at that X, Y, or Z time. I would kind of think that
That's prior certification. I don't think we'll see any solid state be put in prior to certification, because surely you're going to have what's they calling it, an amendment to your certification.
Yeah. And I think again that the battery tech advancements are something that I do want to keep the side of the eye on, as that being able to advance the range, and if that is lighter, playing into the payload for the aircraft. So very excited to see kind of the combination and the marriage of battery tech advancement, what that can do for the eVTOLs. But yeah, I'm gonna almost say my gut is just leaning towards what they have now on the battery systems is probably what they're going to be taking through to the certification. And then, yeah, if breakthrough happens, they talk to FAA, and basically maybe you can send a few conforming aircraft over to the FAA that would have that battery technology already in it. Because then maybe at that point, we're producing enough aircraft where if we send 3, 4, 5, to the FAA that are just specific on the battery, it wouldn't cause harm in the planned deliveries of the sale aircraft that would be coming off the line at that time.
Then Cybernetic Horizon says, I think solid state batteries would expand the total addressable market, right? Instead of making them more useful for a fixed market. Do you know what? Yeah, solid state batteries, depending on how powerful it'll be, yeah, you could enter the likes of the cargo market. Look, as soon as you increase the payload on any of these, you not only, or as soon as you increase the battery capacity on all of these, you don't only increase the payload, you'll also increase the performance of the aircraft. And again, yes, you're going to open up so much more markets. But then, does that make you think, if battery advances very, very quickly, are you taking away the edge some of the VTOL companies have over each other? Okay, number one, look at Horizon Aircraft. They have the range. Beta Technology has the payload capacity. Arch and Joby could quite easily enter these markets if their aircraft has more power.
Well, and not to keep getting on it, and I know beta, we'll see after the lockup shares, see if dilution comes there, and we'll keep running some numbers on like the financials for them. But it kind of, again, it just, Liam, as you're saying that, it's just kind of the point being made from my head too, where do you have enough cash to withstand and get to these points where these advancements are going to be made and be integrated into your aircraft at that time. I think there's reasons why Joby is doing the cash offerings for $1.2 billion. I think there's reasons why Archer wants to stay not just with a $2 billion cash and basically cash and liquidity position, but also being able to tout that as a market leader in that. I think that is also part of the importance of the race, in meaning that the companies that are doing the advancements in the prototype, there will be the full-scale aircraft that are going to have to get built out. And we've seen again, and I've talked about this with Horizon and stuff, where you're going to have to see that there's the manufacturing facilities that are going to have to be not just leased and purchased most likely, but again, the tooling and then the time it even takes to order that tooling and to have that deliver on site, and then have that set up, installed, and make sure that that's running as you would want that to function inside of your assembly factory as well. So I think there's reasons that it is important to maintain those high cash balances. So for any of the companies that you're following, whether it's Archer, Joby, or any of the ones, Vertical, Horizon, there's one that was slipping my beta, or even if there's another one that Eve, anyone particularly likes, if and when you do see that dilution on the company, check and see what that company's cash burn is looking like, on a quarterly basis, year-over-year basis, and see if that's something that can get them up to a substantial cash position to get them over the finish line for their ramp of manufacturing base as well.
Max,
did we get it back?
I'm trying to keep a straight face with what Max has put.
Yeah.
Joby and Archer are launching in Dubai for one critical but unspoken reason. Americans weigh over twice as much as the average UAE citizen. The physical dynamics are easier in this market. That had me cracking up on the side, and I was trying to keep straight face.
Hey, statistics are statistics, Max. I can't hate if you're pulling stats, But yeah, we're doing our best over here. We're trying. Excellent. We're trying to eat right. We're trying.
We have a full suite of tech that will not need to change anytime soon, except for software updates. That's one thing I actually thought about, and I think me and you were speaking about this a little bit earlier. Do we think that maybe it's not that either Earth and Joby are struggling to lift a certain amount of weight? What if they're tweaking their aircrafts to give the best possible performance prior to going out to the market? You look at any car, just because the car will fit regulations, would you just, as soon as you get a Tesla running, are you going to fire out a Model Y as soon as you get the vehicle moving straight away? No, you want to give it the best possible performance.
Yeah.
Or you bring it to market.
Yeah. No, that's so smart, and just as like you're talking like the Tesla or to anybody's car that they would have in mind. I mean, even thinking to like a hybrid car where again it's like the more weight you have on that car, that's probably going to drain the electric battery a little bit more on the road. So yeah, running it through dynos and yeah, you're always going to want to find that best balance between the performance of the car, price of the car, and what you're going to be able to sell it for, and again, range, trunk size.
These vehicles are not cheap. Like they're $5 million. And if you're paying $5 million to say Archer Joby, you might sting someone once, but you're not going to sting them again and again. If the aircraft can't perform up to their expectation, and especially if we're trying to convince people to now fly electric rather than your conventional aircrafts, don't you want it to have the best possible performance when we go out to market? Because if you just give any old rough and ready, it'll pass certification, it'll be fine, send it out to market, and next thing, okay, there's one thing getting past certification. There's another thing about putting out a shit product. And if you put out a shit product, no one's going to buy it.
That's so true.
Could we be in a phase with both companies at the moment where we're tweaking performance?
I don't think that's the worst thought or idea, And again, when this is me just using the car analogy, it's like when you go car shop and you get the booklet of the car, or you see the window sticker and you're seeing the efficiency of the car and how fast it goes and this and that. Yes, they're going to have it dialed into the performance, whether it was like you're saying, whether they're quote unquote, they're rushing the ship product today out just to get it to market, or taking that time to just not refurbish, to kind of refine the product that they have in hand. I mean, we've seen be delivered, whether it's to show or to flight, be it CTOL and VTOL. And I think now, again, like you're saying, let's maximize the performance of these aircraft while we have that time. It's kind of like a little golden bubble in between.
That's why they're going through a VTOL envelope and then a CTOL envelope. Because you get the max performance in VTOL, the max performance in CTOL, and now let's marry the two together.
That's a good thought, though. Yeah.
Are we geniuses or what?
Yeah, I think.
Or is that just tinfoil hat, my guy?
It's okay to have tinfoil and genius maybe in the same hat, So I like it, and yeah, I think it's, because again, I think we think of the word redesign, but how about we kind of word is refine, and is it okay that these aircraft are being refined right now? Joby side, Archer side, and however to any of these companies' sides, I think again, once we're getting to the FAA cert part, the whole pencils down and we're hit and go. That's the product you've chosen, just like you said, Liam, to bring to market. And just because it's new and cool, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the performing product in which that purchaser was maybe expecting. So yeah, I think it's actually this really nice opportunity where you're getting areas of the aircraft certified. You're still able to get flight data with the aircrafts that you're able to get out and fly, and continuing to get aircraft through production, getting them through final production, and getting them ready for, again, the test with the FAA, and getting ready through the delivery through GCAA. And again, to be open-minded about what that experience will be as well. I won't go too deep on it, but just be open-minded about what that experience will be as well. And where, again, if it's piloted market survey flights, let's maybe see that as a win, because that's us again introducing this into the UAE's kind of ecosystem of day-to-day travelers and the passengers that will be using these aircraft. So early market adopters on the UAE side, kind of maybe in and around the same time that we could be seeing integrations of the aircraft flying over us from the EIPP. So yeah, just open-minded with the interesting things to come.
Max, I think you're getting a little bit confused at the market
Let's
here.
see.
So Americans don't care about performance. They fly in helicopters all the time, even after all, I don't want to say that word. Same as Cessnas, where I'm from. I think that's when they say planes crash. I just didn't mean to say that
Yeah, no,
all
no.
the time. Okay. So Americans don't care about performance. They fly in helicopter. So I'm not on about the actual general public caring about the performance. I'm on about the companies buying the product. So if I am United Airlines and I'm buying 100, so I'm spending 500 million on a product, I do care about performance. If I am
that's true.
United Airlines or I'm Delta and I'm buying Boeing or Airbus, I care about the efficiency of the aircraft, because it's going to cost me money to run these aircraft. We want these to run as cheap as possible for the provider, be the most efficient, the safest. Because if you think, if one, Joby is on their aircraft as well. Only actors because they need to carry. No, Joby is as well, and that's come from the horse's mouth, because that's come from the marketing personnel. He fact checked me on that, because I went on X and said that ACHR going selling, Joby are going to operate, and he fact checked me and said, no, Joby are going selling as well. Kirsten, big shout out. Howdy, my guy. Joseph says, will it be Joby or ACHR who will have the best outcome after earnings? Will we see a green or a red day? Do you want me to be honest here? I think we're going to be red on both after earnings. I genuinely do. I don't think it's going to be bad on either part. I actually think Adam will steady the boat when it comes to reports, and I think Joe Ben will just be Joe Ben. But I think what it is the realization on how long this will take. Will actually cause a little bit of worry in the market. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but that's my kind of feeling. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, and I always want to be honest where, and what I'm trying to think, is about what we've learned during this quarter, what is to be baked in, what has been drawn down that maybe has been baked, that has been real, and part of the actual quarterly catalysts that have taken place, and maybe haven't had the stock equity price reward maybe when those news rumors and/or news have came through. The green day after, just as a general, I do think macro is going to play into this. If we're bad macro, I think there's no doubt it's going to be probably heavy red. But I do think on this quarterly earnings call, outside of the news and the catalyst that we know that the companies have secured during the quarter, the financials that are going to get spoke about, we're probably going to learn what this next year's guidance of spend is. So that's going to be a metrics against what the cash on hand for these companies have, which again may put a future dilution thought to some of the analyst heads and the market makers heads as well. So I do agree. It'll be interesting to see if anything from Joby and the blade operations is of any good news or any substantial news that they may kind of mention of as well, just as that's going to be kind of revenue that will be shown on the books or to be expected. And then on the Archer side, well, it's like crazy. It's like the Omen system has come about, I believe, just within this last quarter. The relationship with the Republic of Serbia just announced, what seems just a few weeks ago, if probably even less. Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see if the market is ready to reward these companies for the revenue that they may be able to bring for the quarter, and then still balancing that out with the future timeline to the projection of taking a hold of the TAM of these industries. So I really want to say that there has been information within these quarters that would allow these companies to be flat to green. But we've seen on the earnings calls that there is a traditional red move. So that it's a long-winded way to say, because I never want to sit here and project a loss in money, but I'll just go with not having a crystal ball, not financial advice. You'll see a red day.
Everyone was hoping we'd say green. I know it. Everyone's sitting there, yeah, and they're like, just say green, just say green.
Let us be wrong. Trust me. Let us be wrong. I'm okay with that.
You know what? Yeah,
I'd rather be wrong that way.
And I'd rather be honest about it, because if I wholeheartedly thought it was going to be red and I said green and then it went red, it just wouldn't sit right in my heart. So
that's fair.
I'm just going to be honest. Kiwi Crush Productions, hiding from New Zealand. We love New Zealand here, my guy. What part of New Zealand are you from?
Nice.
Will the electric vehicle be limited to weather condition that will massively impact profit? So at the moment, when it comes to hot weather conditions, both seem to be coping quite well. Joby have run the tests in the desert, in Dubai, if I remember, and
Yes,
Joby and Archer have been out in the UAE. What part of Saudi is it?
Yep.
I get so confused.
I know, but you got you got all the eVTOL news in your head.
When it comes to actual ice, we have a company, Horizon Aircraft. They're going straight up FIKI certification. That is flight into non-icing. Now, Archer and Joby are not going for this. However, what my belief is, look, they can go for FIKI certification if they want to. Nothing will stop them from going to FIKI certification. But when we talk about performance of the aircraft, again, FIKI certification is going to pull down the performance of the aircraft. It's going to be heavier, and you have to adapt your aircraft. So there's going to have to be an amendment to the certification that is achieved. However, I think you are going to see the operator actually go for a FIKI certification or pay for Archer to do FIKI certification on their behalf. Because if you think about it, if you live in, I don't know, Alaska, and you want a Cybertruck, yeah? But you can either get the standard Cybertruck, or if you want the extras with the off-road tires, etc., you're going to have to pay Tesla extra for that. So that's genuinely my belief. I think the operator will go for FIKI certification. But yeah, weather doesn't seem to have an impact. I know Archer did put out a post today about the in-house electromagnetic compatibility lab. Now, again, they're testing real-world stresses, what they say, by exposing engines, battery packs, and power supplies and other important systems to severe electromagnetic environments. It's not only the likes of that everything is stress test to the absolute limit. So, yes, we can talk about extreme weather, but these will be tested in extreme heat in lab conditions and extreme cold in lab conditions. So I don't have too much worry on the weather front. What's your thoughts, Dom?
I literally would second just everything you said, Liam. I thought that was so eloquent. And the only point I would add in, which is going to be so much more basic level than what Liam said, is to the initial flight maps and the flight routes. It looked, so just as I'm reading the question and saying massively impact profit, I don't think that they are structuring their profit margins and their profit range in cities that they're not looking to actually physically fly in yet. So will it impact the ability to mass roll out in a city that could give you the profit? Yes, possibly. But I think to what the kind of guidance on figures, not from just like your business weeklies and stuff, projecting like general 2030 TAMs that could be in trillions, when it's general 2030 TAMs that I've seen in like 135 billion. So, those have been so widespread on those. But I would say to the company's guidance, more looking at those being more trajected to where these flight operations will be happening, and nailed it, Liam, on the stress testing. And I think just like you're saying, from cold weather, but also the hot weather, where it's looking that really they're being the early adopters from UAE, doing the test flights over there, like you mentioned, Joby, Dubai, Archer, Saudi, and doing that in the sandbox. And then having the hot weather cities like Miami, just like you said, taking LA, and then even New York, where yes, gonna be cold weather, but that's not saying it's cold weather all year. So you will have some operational months that you can take advantage of there, where maybe even I just had a random thought where, let's say you have a fleet of aircraft that are in New York from, I don't know, like late April to like mid-September, where we think we're not going to get any, pretty clear on the icing, I would say. And then that point, let's say you had 10 aircraft there from both companies. Could you then pull those from New York and then enter those into operations, be it Texas, Florida, California? So maybe a way to kind of just ramp, I don't know, top of the head thought, who knows? But yeah, so that would be my thoughts.
Guys, smash that like button. There's 65 of you here on a
Nice.
Friday.
Nice.
That is absolutely wild. Do you know
Love
what?
it.
I'm starting to love this, guys.
That's cool.
Arch and Joby will probably be winners in this space. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Wall Street. Then at Hustle, did you decide to be a full-time YouTuber? No, you know what? I'll be honest with you guys. So I've been speaking still, and Dylan knows my scenario at the moment. So
yeah.
look, I'm over here in the UK. I said to Dylan, when it comes to farming, the winter to me is the hardest time. This time now I get a lot more time on my hands because the cattle go back out, and look, it's not as much work on me. So I was toying with the idea for an experiment. Will I run it as a full-time gig? It's up to you guys. If not, I'm just gonna chill out, for 3 months. And look, as and when I need to do a bit of farming, I will. But guys, you let me know. Do you want me to do full-time YouTube then for the next few months? Do let me know. But you're gonna have to convince me because I don't know. It's a bit of a wild shout, isn't it? Brett says, I've been buying Archer and Joby. Is it smarter to buy mostly one until reaching your goal, or both evenly? In my opinion, and this is going to be different to most people. Oh, this is a bad one for me to say, no, Brett, do you want to know what I would do or what you I can't, it's not financial advice, but what people will tell you to do, because there's a difference between what I genuinely would do and what people will tell you to do. I'm about even on both, Brett. We won't know who is the clear-cut winner, and that is true. Tech We Love says, Ivy Crush. I didn't know that Archer Ivy was so high this week. It's projected to be lower going forward. Joby bought out Blade Mobility and Toyota invested a lot of money, both for tailwinds, so my thesis long term. And that's the thing, like when you're Toyota backed, Toyota, didn't they come out, was it last month, and said they're investing $10 billion into US manufacturing?
Yeah.
Joby get a share of that. Last
Very
quarter,
interesting.
Archer dropped 10% after earnings. Joby went up and they beat revenue by 22 million, and stock went up 5% after earnings.
It was a different year last year. I don't know. You know, just the general market. But you're correct. I definitely correct on that saddle. And you know, Archer was that interesting quarter. It had that flash crash out there. I think it was 581. It had gotten down to within. I don't know if technically it would have been a 1 minute candle, but it was. You know, I'm looking at it in 5 minute blocks. But with the Hawthorne, it's like whoever's controlling or figuring the market out after hour, it was like I don't know what to do. I'm scrambling around. They bought an airport. Is this good? Is this bad? A flash crash, and then you know back up to just kind of general basis where it was prior to the news. And you know, Joby last quarter they shared you know a solid shareholder deck with percentages of what their and the power on testing I think they had mentioned last quarterly call. I could be wrong, but I think they mentioned that last quarterly call. So there was definitely some highlights in there. So yeah, I guess you know it does.
You think we'd see faster progress after that power on testing coming into this quarter?
You know,
Because it was thrown into the investing deck early
it was like
on.
yeah, I want to say like it was a week. If I'm wrong, like tops like a week later, I was seeing like maybe some PR type video news with the power on testing. So yeah, I think again that's where you know if it's not being shown or known to the public just basically at this time or in the last 3 months, maybe getting a good explanation of the progression from that point that Joby has been able to accomplish on this next call. Yeah.
Winter in the UK is the absolute worst. I visited my colleagues there once. One of them had scurvy. They're so unhealthy and depressed. You know what? It was snowing on my way here.
No.
Manchester was snowing. Yeah.
No. Oh my gosh.
And
Okay.
yeah, today. What was it today? It was 2 o'clock. Felt like -5 on the iPhone. So yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, we're done with the snow.
Ireland's not much warmer. Though. Ireland's probably colder on occasions. I think Ireland we get beaten with weather harder. These guys can get they can get cold spells a lot, where we just get beaten by. You guys call it the Gulf of America now, but yeah, we get beaten by the whole Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, we are done with the ice on the East Coast. It's like get the sun out. Whatever this California weather, Florida weather, bring it here. Come on, sun, get out. Yeah, get this ice going. Yeah, done.
Then
Okay.
It's just hugging the carpool lane. Whatever keeps you happy and wealthy, we need farmers happy. Big shout out, my guy.
That. Yeah.
Yes, I love and like subscribe to your channel. Congratulations. Do you know what?
Thank you, brother.
Should I do it? Should I not do it? I might. Are they moving that fast? Whatever keeps you happy. Send an email to Adam. Tell him to. Oh, mate. That was probably like the first question you ever asked on the Hustle Brothers stream. No, I'm not sending that because I don't want to upset anyone.
No, sir.
Post sent to Adam. Googling Apple have dedicated buses for rush hour transportation for their employees. Have they thought about making them a transportation deal to sell them a few dozen midnight? But then then Google and Apple will have to get the pilots themselves.
You know, that interesting
Can
thought.
Google and Apple operate aircraft under themselves? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
They maybe have to get the Part 135 certificate. Maybe have to get certain aviation part certifications to like actually be an airliner, not just a passenger route. But
And I think, why would Google and Apple pay an EV? Like, why would they buy for 5 million a few dozen midnight? So, like, what, a few dozen midnights? They're going to pay tens of millions.
Well,
No, would it be tens of million? It'd be over 100 million, would it? Then have to operate.
at that point, yeah. And then if they were operating, but you that comment does kick off, like three different thoughts in my head. And one that me and Liam were having, where we were, and if you don't mind me saying this, but where we think kind of, we're backwards thinking the pilot academy, and we're kind of thinking like, okay, these you have the Joby Academy and the Archer Academy. So if they are training the pilots at those academies, are they then becoming, and you can help fill any of this in, but like, are they then becoming the employees of these companies? So as they are flying, like if an Archer, the gentleman, or if somebody is going through the Archer Pilot Academy and then is flying a midnight, are they classified maybe as an Archer employee? Or, so it's just a lot of interesting questions in that. And then also to the Google, as they have the Waymo subsidiary, I have been interested, because whenever that T company talk was going on, in my mind, I was like, again, it's almost like one of those things Elon spoke about before. And, the cash he has, it seems like if he wanted to enter the space, he'd probably design his own and probably do it, maybe in his own way. But I've kind of had a curious thought about Google, where, if they were to think of this as adding a mode of transportation to their, their fleet of business, who would they then partner with? So, if there ever was a day, but then also if you think just on the private route, a company like Google, if it wasn't, able to be for the initial to be for the employees initially, maybe having on their helipad, where they, instead of the traditional helicopter, have 3, 4, 5 of these, and that's how they're escorting their VIP guests in and out of the building or such too. So again, when we get into rampant manufacturing and sale of aircraft, might be really interesting to see who starts to procure the aircraft and what it takes to be, like you're saying, Liam, that owner and operator. And maybe even if it's not like an Uber air taxi network, but you are running like a private airline network, down in Miami or in California or whatever city that may be. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
I've seen the Google Jets in person. They kept them at NASA. That was wild.
Nice.
On Reddit, we decided the best questions we should ask analysts. Joseph says, what question would we like to hear from the analysts on the earnings call? Do you know what I'm going to do there, Dylan?
Yeah. What's your thought? I like it already. I like it.
Right. I have a plan with these videos now, these live streams. We're going to end on a question every night. Yeah?
Okay.
And we're going to start the next stream on a question. So the question we're starting tomorrow's stream on is, what questions would we like the analysts on the earnings call? And what I want, guys, I want you to jump into the comments once this video ends. Jump in and let us know what questions, and we'll discuss every single one of those comments. I promise you that.
I like that.
But look, guys, if you haven't, smash that subscribe button. Get us to 5,000 as quick as possible. Smash that like button. Yeah, will I do this full-time thing? I don't know. Do let me know if we will. But you know what, Dylan? Been a great day. Been a nice end to the week after a wild week in the market. But Yeah, do you know what? I might speak to you tomorrow. If you're about, I'll speak to you tomorrow. If not, guys, I'll run a live stream. But yeah, all right. We'll see you then.
Have a great one. Enjoy.